we are here 33 days out from counting day, and the work is still ongoing, everybody. Yesterday was a remarkable day. Yesterday, we continued our campus tour across the country in the effort to lose by less. To lose by less on these college campuses. We know that we're probably not going to win the youth vote on a lot of these college campuses. It still tilts liberal. It is still a majority liberal and left-wing environment. With that being said, though, can we lose by less? Instead of losing by 30 points, can we lose by 15 points? Instead of losing by 20 points, can we lose by 8 points? We went yesterday to Grand Canyon University, which is a private Christian school on the west side of Phoenix. They do a great job. Very good basketball team, might I add, and wonderful people. I've gone to GCU multiple times before, and I've never been met with the response that we received yesterday on campus. There's a transformation unfolding on these campuses. And mind you, this is more than just the thousands of students that attended. Look at that screen, everybody, on Real America's Voice or the stream. Those of you listening on podcasting or radio, these images are up on charliekirk.com and all of our social channels. Those are thousands of students in the 104-degree heat. I wasn't even giving a speech. I was just there to come take selfies and shake some hands. Went out there, asked some questions, talked to some folks. The energy and the spirit was unlike anything we've grasped before. But understand, the takeaway from these events is more than just a rally and more than just enthusiasm. No. This is what makes Turning Point different. This is work that has never been done in the modern conservative movement. In fact, I don't think since the advent of the modern college campus, there has been a conservative movement nearly as successful as what we're seeing right now. Not even close. In the history of the modern college campus. Look at those videos. Thousands and thousands of students. And this is not just at the private Christian school of GCU. We saw this at Penn State. We saw this at Arizona State University. We saw this at University of Wisconsin-Madison. What we are doing at Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action is working. And mind you, the establishment has tried to take out Turning Point at every single turn. They still are trying to plant stories. They're still trying to launch investigations against us. The Republican establishment hates Turning Point because of you are seeing the results right there. But again, it's more than just a rally. What we did at Grand Canyon University is sending shockwaves across the Arizona political universe because we are now becoming very friendly with the Arizona Secretary of State and Maricopa County Recorder's Office. What do I mean by that? So we do these voter registration events, and we then, of course, have to submit the forms. So we do them at, for example, we did them last night at Dream City Church with Dr. Ben Carson. 2,000 people were there. That's right. We also had Dr. Ben Carson last night. I'll talk about that in a second. Amazing. We got over 100 people to pledge to commit 100 ballots. So that's 10,000 new ballots that we got pledged to chase yesterday. We do these events at Arizona State University, at Grand Canyon, but you have to submit these forms when you register these new voters to vote. So we register all these folks and our Turning Point Action staff that does a great job. And also I'm going to make sure I shout out just some of the staff. I'm going to butcher this and I'm going to get in so much trouble. But Josie on the Turning Point USA side did an amazing job. She deserves a lot of credit. That was her project. She did it in 48 hours notice. She did so well. Eric also did a really great job yesterday on the Turning Point Action side. And I want to thank the entire team. So I'm just shouting out those two people. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get all these messages of people I forgot. So I apologize. But those two people in particular went above and beyond. So Eric, this is what's amazing. And I'll tell you the number in a second. So we register voters for three and a half hours at Grand Canyon University. The RNC didn't do this under Rana. No one's done this work. Turning Point is doing the difficult work to lose by less. So we have these piles of voter registration forms, and we show up to the Arizona Secretary of State office, and they're rather annoyed to see us. You see, the Arizona Secretary of State office is controlled by Adrian Fontes, a Democrat. Here we have all these first-time voters, and instead of them being super excited, they're like, oh boy, here they come again. They're annoyed. And they're annoyed because it wasn't just that we came with 30 voter registration forms or 80 voter registration forms or 150 voter registration forms. No. Yesterday, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action in particular being the political arm, we registered not 300 new voters for Trump, not 500 new voters for Trump, not 600, no. 750 new first-time voters for Donald Trump in 3 hours. 750 first-time voters for Donald Trump at Grand Canyon University. So Eric goes to the Secretary of State's office with this massive pile of voter registration forms. And instead of processing them, they made him go to the Maricopa County Recorder's office. Eventually, they received the forms. Eventually, they accepted them and processed them. But the Democrats are getting used to us showing up every day with these piles of first-time voters. And mind you, this used to be an exclusive Democrat project. It used to always be the Democrat groups of the Latino outreach groups, the youth vote groups. They would show up in the days before the voter registration deadline, and they would flood the zone with voter registration forms, maybe some of them erroneous. Let me say, the 750 forms that Turning Point Action submitted yesterday, those were not erroneous. Those were legit, right there, real forms, real students. And remember,
that's the problem,
submitted
Charlie.
750. Yeah, go ahead, Blake.
That's the problem,
Go
Charlie.
ahead.
They're not just, some like homeless guy that they found and, they can put all of them at a Starbucks.
Exactly.
So, don't you know, Charlie, this is supposed to be a
These
low
are
turnout
real people.
election. This is the low turnout election year.
Well,
That's the strategy.
And that's exactly, yeah. And I want to get into that because I think it's really important. It's actually my greatest concern. My greatest concern is if we lose because we don't turn out. And all the polls show that, all the data shows that. And it's the great concern. So Donald Trump fell 10,000 ballots short in 2020, 10,000 ballots short. And in just one day, we registered 7% of his deficit in 2020. And now I am here to announce, which is a big deal, since June, Turning Point Action has far exceeded the registration deficit of the amount that Donald Trump fell short in the state of Arizona. Just this summer and in fall. That is a very big deal, everybody. And that doesn't count all the natural voter registration. That doesn't count all of the organic. By the way, I've registered new voters. As I say, I go on my walk every morning. People want a selfie. I only take selfies with registered voters. And I can tell you right now, this is work that did not happen in 2020. And it is exponential. It's not just that we registered 750 new first-time Trump voters to vote at Grand Canyon University. These people that love Trump, I'm talking about on fire for Trump. And if you don't believe it, wait till you see the video of I was doing Man on the Street. I said, who are you voting for? Trump, 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 Trump. This is not normal to have this response. Blake, I want to get you in on this, about a minute remaining. Blake, to have this kind of response on a college campus is unique. This is not something that we see every election cycle.
It's 100% a new trend, and I've only been with you 2 years, but I remember your events that you're doing in late 22, early 23, much more hostile crowd, smaller crowd, and it's very jarring to go to relatively big schools, Kansas State or Penn State, as you mentioned, and just very large crowds. And it's not just the number of people; they're much more assertive and confident about what they think. It's just much more acceptable, and even I hesitate to use the word, but it's kind of cool to be supporting this movement. It's so much less
very much so.
like dorky or embarrassing. There just used to be this weird shame that would attach to being a right of center person on a college campus, and it was like they almost reveled in it, and that was such a loser attitude to have. And so that's the coolest thing that we see now is they've transcended this old born loser attitude, and they want to win, and they think their ideology is correct, and they don't concede that the left is somehow morally better than them.
It's well said. Everybody, there's something happening on these college campuses. We will lose by less. And I just want to thank the educational work of Turning Point USA that's been changing the culture, and the political work of Turning Point Action. There are no more important organizations, I believe this, I'm a little biased, than Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action in the country doing the work out in 104-degree heat to try to save the civilization.